And welcome, everyone. So we're here with Bel Martinez, and I've known Bel for about 13, 14 years already.
Mhm.
When
Yes,
Julie was
ma'am.
6 years old, and we got into entrepreneurship or network marketing, right?
Mhm. Yes, we did.
So we've been talking and going a little bit more in detail. And we brought her on because we wanted to know what brought you to become an entrepreneur. Well,
Well, it's pretty interesting question because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I look at my grandpa, my maternal grandfather, and he always had something going. He was a car salesman, and so therefore that meant he worked at the dealership, but then he also had a car in his front yard and said, "Every car has its owner, so this will sell in a few weeks." And it would always sell. Then he had his own service station back then where they had the full service stations, where they would fill your gas tank and clean your windshields. It did used to happen. He owned his own service station. Years later, my uncle, his son, Elias, wanted to open up a restaurant. So there's my grandpa, another entrepreneur in the family, and he helped him build his restaurant and now restaurants. And it's in my blood. I remember my mom. Mom always worked. She was a cashier at a grocery store, and she was raising four of us alone. And she would do other things too. If there was something to sell, mom was out there settling it, selling it, peddling it, whatever you want to call it. But she was always there. And when she got remarried, her husband was the same, and they would go and sell different things. He used to sell candles, like the religious candles, those big
oh
ones.
yeah.
He would go and sell them to different stores, and mom would go and help him. And they traveled all around the country just doing different things. So it's in my blood, I guess.
Hmm.
So when I met you like 15, 20 years ago, that's what we were doing. We were doing a network marketing with another company. And I think for me, that just taught me so much. Read these books, go to where these people, these leaders are telling you what they've done to succeed. So even though, I left that company, I still kept all the knowledge. And I'm sure you'll agree you did too, right, Joe?
Exactly.
And it's just amazing, the growth that you have. And like right now, I'm in my 60s. I'm still reading books. I'm still going in and getting those leadership books because we're growing ourselves always. So I'm an educator by trade. I retired last December of 21, and I am still an educator, but I'm also a learner. So everything I do, I'm trying to just impart. So I've always had either a second job or something to do. And I think that's why I'm into entrepreneurship. I just believe that we've got to do for ourselves.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. How has teaching been a big part for you now that you talked about teaching? Because I know
Mhm,
you've done entrepreneurship, you're an entrepreneur, small business owner. Um, you retired as a teacher. And I
mhm.
know when you brought us under your wing, you were the teacher and you were teaching us so many different things in so many different ways, the scientific parts of it and all of that in part. And then you also work in the church, where you're also helping the people that want to get married and to
Right.
see if they will be able to get married as well.
That's
So
right.
just a little bit about the teaching part. How has that incorporated into your entrepreneurship?
So I think as an educator and a learner, like I say, anything I learn, I want to impart that. Even when we were in that other, network
Company?
marketing, my husband and I were both teachers. And you're right, we took on the education role for our team.
Yeah.
But I think now, like you say, it's stretched out everywhere. So what we've learned, my husband and I have been married, believe it or not, 45 years.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
It is. Because
Congratulations.
nowadays, that's very rare, right?
It is.
So, with those 45 years of knowledge, we have learned to educate others. And like you say, at our church at St. Faustina here in Fulshire, Texas, we have been doing sponsor couple. So anybody that wants to come in and get married through our church, we go through a series of things, through the diocese, and we have a book and we meet with the couples 5 or 6 times until they're ready to get married. And I guess what we do is we kind of force them to talk about things that maybe they don't want to approach, right? While they're dating,
Exactly.
you want to be at your best, but sometimes you've got to talk about money, about family, relationships. Hey, who's going to go to Thanksgiving? Where are we going to go? To your parents or mine? Those are huge things that seem very trivial now, but when you're in the middle of it, it becomes an issue. So we teach what we've lived, and no one's saying that we were ever a perfect marriage, because that is not true. But we also were not perfect parents, but we've learned. And,
Yeah.
we're seeing our children, do things differently, which is good. It's a positive thing. So I think education from teaching in the classroom, and personally, I'm still taking a few people under my wing that have come from other countries and don't know English.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm taking them in like little birdies. I'm taking them in and we meet once a week. Uh,
Hmm.
and they're learning English. I have a couple from Mexico, and they came in on political asylum, so it was very difficult. And he's an attorney over there, but over here, it's not the same. So if you don't know the language, you're lost, right?
That's
And
true.
yeah, and she was a I don't want to say a DJ. Someone that talks on the radio, like a radio personality, right?
Oh, yes.
Now, I don't remember what you call that, but you know what I'm talking
A
about.
radio personality. Yeah.
Radio personality. And here it's different, right? So I've been helping them for the last 2 years, and now all we do when we meet is we speak in English.
Oh,
So to
wow.
me, yes, it's amazing. When I moved to Houston, because I've always taught English, when I moved to Houston, they put me to teach newcomers. So
Okay.
newcomers are people that come from other countries. It was a high school, no English, and I had to teach them English.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful. At one point, Jovi, believe it or not, I had 19 languages in my classroom.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it is.
That's really amazing.
It,
Wow.
it is. But people say, well, how do you know that many languages? I don't need to know their language. They're learning my language, right? So,
Right.
so some of my kids would pass the state English test in year one. Why? Because they were committed, they listened, they learned, and they wanted it, right? And
Hmm.
I think that's the same thing with entrepreneurship, right? You learn about it, you get educated, and if you want it, you're going to go out and get it, right?
Exactly.
So I feel that, so yes, we volunteer at the church. Yes, we're going in and, I'm trying to help others. I've had other students too when I'm teaching English classes. And it's just part of me. I cannot go anywhere and not educate.
Exactly.
That's just in me. It's in my
Hmm.
DNA, Jovi.
Yeah, it is. And I love it. So share one of your passions with us. What is your passion? What drives you? What's that passion that you have inside of you?
Okay. Well, the passion that I have is helping others. Okay. And like I told you, I'll help them like with classes, whatever. But with the entrepreneurship part, and I'm going to bring church back in again because this is what happened to me. I started using essential oils about 5 years ago. Okay.
Okay.
I had learned about it. I'm from the Valley, which is like McAllen, Texas, by the Rio Grande uh, River. The other side is Mexico. Like we were within 5 miles from Mexico, where I grew up.
Mhm.
But something happened that brought me here to Houston area. I live in Katy now. And it was, I mean, divine, I'm sure. I am a type 1 diabetic.
Mhm.
So I wind up in the hospital and I almost died.
Oh my
And
goodness. When
yes,
did this happen,
this
Belle?
happened about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm in the emergency room and they're asking me, all these questions. And they're like, "Are you on any medication?" No. "Do you have any problem?" No. I didn't know what I was saying. Then my husband walks in and he's like, "Yes, she's a diabetic." She's like, well, it turned out to be something called ketoacidosis, which basically your blood is acid. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they had to do a lot of things and start dripping the insulin and taking these what they call blood gases every hour, which was very painful. It goes in, I guess, into the arteries. I don't know how to explain it, but it was horrible.
Mhm.
When I woke up from that, I was a different person. And a few days later, I told my husband, John, and you know him, Joe, I said,
Yeah, exactly.
so because my daughter-in-law that lives here in Houston with our son and the boys said, Belle, you all should move to Houston. And I said, I've been in the Valley all my life, 50 some years. It's never going to happen. Never, never. Because a few days after that experience, um, I just felt something in my heart. And I told John, I'm moving to Katy. And he looked at me. Okay. I said, so I'm going to start applying for jobs. So he's a teacher too. I said, so if you want to, you can apply for jobs. But if you don't get one, it's okay. Because we can meet in Corpus, which is about halfway every other week or something. And I said it like it was a fact. And he's looking at me like, okay. He really thought I was kind of loony. You know, I did it. So a few weeks later, we came to a job fair. Nothing came from that. But then one day I just got, and I think it's just this divine inspiration, right? And I just wrote the principal of this high school that I wound up at and saying, hey, I deal with at-risk kids. I have my master's degree and I want to move to Houston. She called me that night and pretty much we had an interview on Zoom the next day. Back then it wasn't even Zoom. I don't even know what it was called. Skype, I think.
Yeah,
So
I think it was Skype.
it was Skype. So
Mhm.
that's what happened. And,
Mhm.
you know, I got a job and I told him, well, I got a job. And he's looking at me like, oh my gosh, she's serious. So then 2 weeks before school started, he got 2 job offers on the same day. So we were able to move here. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I honestly think that God's plan for us was
Mhm.
to find our church here, you know, because
Oh,
like,
wow.
like we have all that experience because before we did marriage prep here, we were in the Valley doing Catholic Engaged Encounter since like 2000 or before. We've been doing it for over 20 years. So we just continued, like we came in and said, hey, do you need help? They took us right away. We need help. And then that one thing led to another. And we started doing different things and retreats. And so now we're very involved in our church and we just feel like we are so blessed. And
Mhm.
that had not happened to me, that experience. And I hadn't said, let's go, let's move to Houston. This is our 7th year next month in August that we've been here in Katy. And, we miss our parents, of course, but we do go at least once a month to see them. But it's a whole different life for us. We've met a lot of new friends. But the reason I'm talking so much about my church is that I had started using doTERRA products,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
because I like the oils, and I had tried them in the valley and no one followed up with me. So follow up is important.
Yeah.
And then I met this lady that I was working with, and she says, "Oh, I'm on a cleanse." And I said, "Oh, really? What type?" And I was asking her questions. And she goes, "Oh, with doTERRA." And I said, "Hey, I've been looking for someone. Let me buy some oils from you." Like, who doesn't want that, right?
Yeah.
So she sold me oils. But a year later, Jovi, I'm coming out of church, and I literally felt a push, like someone going like this on my lower back.
Oh, wow.
And I heard, "Why aren't you building it?" And of course, like any good Christian would do, I just ignored it and I kept walking. But then again, "Why aren't you building it?"
Wow.
So that was a big message for me. So the next day, I called Tiffany, who's my mentor, and I said, "Okay, I'm ready to build." And she's like, "Okay," like a year later, random.
Yeah.
So here I am. And I think the reason is because I'm helping other people. We've talked about natural solutions and everything, right, Jovi? And we
Yeah.
believe in that.
Exactly.
But I mean, there's just been so many instances where I see where this has already changed people's lives. And I'm not being dramatic either, like literally, like I don't even know.
Exactly. And that's my other point that I wanted to ask another question.
Mhm.
And this is like going towards the same thing that you're actually talking about. So at this point in time,
Mhm.
how far has your faith led you to where you're at right now?
I would not be here without my faith. Okay. Jesus is the answer for everything and for everyone.
Amen.
I truly believe it.
Mhm.
And I'm going to give you one example as to why I'm here and why I got that push that day. There was a teacher that, because I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you have samples on you all the time of whatever it may be. So, I always have oils. This is spearmint. I used it right before my speaking so I could talk a little more, naturally and succinct, right? So I always have oils. And this teacher across the hall came and she goes, "Man, I really have a really bad headache. And I just know I'm going to get a migraine." And she just, went on. And I said, "Oh, okay." I went to my room and I took her one of the peppermint, just simple peppermint. And I said, "Here." And I rubbed it on it for her. And she's like, "Oh no, that wasn't peppermint. It was a blend with peppermint."
Okay.
She was talking and then she stopped. She goes, "Wait a minute. My headache just went away. What was that?" And then she proceeded to tell me that she actually had brain surgery twice for her migraines.
Oh, wow.
So now
That's
guess what?
crazy.
She is never without her oil,
I
right?
believe it. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
and
because your essential oils, they absorb into your skin. And you can go more in detail about that, Belle.
yeah,
Your
these
essential
oils.
oils, whenever you go and even when you're consuming it
Yes.
or ingesting it,
Mhm.
they are so potent and so extremes to it as well.
Yes.
And you can go
Very
more in
pure.
detail about that.
Yes. So first of all, I will say not every essential oil can be ingested. Okay.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful because I mean, I didn't know any better back in the day. I used to go to Walmart and there were those now brands or whatever they're called. And I would think, oh, 8.99, I can take like so many. And here they
No.
went from say $11 a bottle to like 80 or $90 a bottle. Why? Because it depends on where it's sourced, what it's for, how many, like rose is one of the most expensive, but thousands of rose petals just to make a little 5 ml bottle. So
Yeah.
it all of that goes into that. But just like with her, just here on her temples, and you're right, it can go into your bloodstream, these oils.
Exactly.
You can ingest it, and of course, it goes through your whole system. But it depends on the oil. Not all of them can be ingested, but some of them will. And the beauty of doTERRA, for example, this is our spearmint, and this one, and I don't think you'll be able to. Well, yeah, I think you can. It says supplement. You see that?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if it says supplement facts, that means you can actually put it in water, like a drop or two in your water, or you can put it in little veggie caps and put them in there, and you take it like a regular pill. I mean, it's so amazing. And what we like to tell people is, instead of just going to your cabinet, like, for example, me, I used to take ibuprofen, which is a synthetic chemical, right?
Exactly.
And you're supposed to take like 2 a day max. I would take 4 in the morning and 4 at night. And I did that for years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now, instead of reaching for that chemical, I just go and I'll get some copaiba, which is an oil that is, it's tapped from trees in Brazil in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh,
That
wow.
is supernatural. Then it's, it's available for us. But I'd rather get that or get some peppermint, just like I did with my friend, right? So these are wonderful. Like, the oils themselves do not heal you, okay? Because I mean, that would be crazy. They're not going to heal you, but our bodies can heal themselves, right? So if we do the right things for our body, then the oils can come in and help it work better, your metabolism, whatever it is that you need to work on, right? So, I mean, I'm happy to say that I was on, gosh, I can't even, probably 6 to 8 medications that I was on, and I was still taking the 4 ibuprofen, you know, it was a
Oh,
roller
wow.
coaster. Yeah. Now I'm down to 1 and my insulin. Okay.
Okay.
Insulin because I'm a type 1 and I don't make it. But I have hope that one day I'll be able to fix my pancreas. We can, God is great and he's the greatest healer, right? So,
Exactly.
yes. But another example of a friend, and I just spoke to her today, 2 years ago, she was another teacher, Jovi, and she said, "Oh, I have my daughter just hurt her daughter was a student there with us at the junior high. She just hurt her ankle. What do you?" And I said, "Oh, here, try some deep blue. It's for pain, blah, blah, blah." And she took it, and the next day she goes, "Hey, it worked. And what else do you have?" And she goes, "You know what? Forget it. Why don't you come to my house and just have a party and we'll share all the oils?" So I said, "Okay, for every person that you have there, I'll give you a little vial of different oils." She is legally blind, okay?
Okay.
Legally blind, could just see like haze, just like hazy things. And it was very difficult for her to see anything. So I gave her all the samples. And a few months later, she says, "Bel, guess what?" And I said, "What?" She said, "I started using frankincense," which the power of frankincense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Started putting it, I think she said, just around the eye. Of course, nothing in the eye or in the mouth or in the nose. She started putting it around here at the bottom of her feet. And it took the inflammation down enough to where there was no inflammation. She had a lot of inflammation in her eyes. They couldn't do a surgery. And her doctor told her, "Now you're 2 months with no inflammation. We can do surgery."
Oh, wow.
So 2 surgeries later, the second one was a partial corneal transplant. She was now able to see from that eye, from one eye, and she got her new glasses. So now she's seeing. I mean,
Wow.
to me, those are miracles.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
miracles. And we don't know. So I'm thinking, okay, Lord, I get it. You put me here to help these people, right? So who
So,
am I to say
Bel,
no?
can you tell everyone what the frankincense stands for and how this oil is even talked about in the Bible.
Well, I tell everyone it's the Jesus oil. Okay. So this oil
I
is
love it. I love that part of
the
it.
Jesus oil. It was one of the gifts, right? But basically this oil, and there's actually like 4 different types of frankincense. Okay. So we have some resin, which is a different type than the actual oil. So there's some products that we have that have the resin in it. So they make it into a powder form, and then you take it internally and it does wonderful things. Okay.
Mhm.
Then we have the essential oil, which is frankincense. And that is, we call it the cellular blend. It works on your cells. Like
Mhm.
we all have cells, that's what we're made from. And it actually works in your cells. And that is what my friend was using for her eyes. And all that inflammation just subsided. And she was just like, floored. To this day, we're still like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't just my friend with her migraines that now they've subsided, and she had had 2 surgeries. And
Oh,
now my other friend, was able to have surgery. It's crazy. And I have so many others like me, myself. Um, 3 years ago, I was over 200 pounds. I was at 200 pounds. And I went to the doctor and she's like, you need to lose weight, blah, 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 the usual. And I'm just like, it's not easy. I'm human. I like to eat. I like to. So she says, well, they had a diet. And my friend Marcella, I love her to death because she ran this program there at the doctor's office. And my husband and I both lost 35 pounds. And later,
congratulations.
thank you. 3 years later, we still have the weight off. But yes, we're eating differently, we're exercising more. But the main thing is the supplements that we take, like the doTERRA Lifelong Vitality. Again, it's got all of the right natural things, pure, right? They're
Exactly.
certified pure, they're tested grade. Uh, we take a handful of pills every morning, but they're all natural. We take turmeric. We take our lifelong vitality, which is our vitamins. We take deep blue polyphenols. Polyphenols, if you just look that up, there's a whole thing on that. We take everything that we need, that our bodies need to work properly. So all of those, like in 3 years, it took us, kept our weight off, 35 pounds off. I was up to 40 off, but then man, this whole 2 years at home, it was bad. So I'm working on those other 5 again. But it's always a work in progress. And I
It
am
is.
by no means perfect, but I'm here to help you. And so you will know, like, okay, I'm not like a little perfect person, like all toned and you know, jump. I'm normal like you, but it's
Yeah.
working. It's working for me. So, I mean, I'm here to tell anyone I'm very available because I'm retired. We take care of the kids during the day, our grandkids, because what happened, we moved here 7 years ago. So we were renting apartment. We sold our house in the valley. So we're here. And then our daughter-in-law, who is a blessing to us, said, you know what? And our son, we're going to get a bigger house for everyone to fit. And then we'll all be together. So that's what we're doing.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, we're really blessed. And like I say, our families here, our church family is just down the road. We're 10 minutes from our church. It's beautiful, you know. And we have a daughter also, Lisa, and she lives in Colorado. So a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, we were over there for about 10 days. We're about
Nice.
to leave um, in a couple of days. We're going to go to, where did I tell you, Arizona, New Mexico, Las
Arizona.
Vegas, and going to be there for about 10 days with our friends. And so we're
Take
enjoying
me
life.
with you.
Come on over. We're leaving
Right.
Friday morning at 6 o'clock from San Antonio. So you're
Oh,
welcome.
nice.
So
Man.
yes, Joe. So this is a blessing, because honestly, I'm retired and I really don't have to do anything else, but I'm thinking people need what I have to offer. And I'm here wholeheartedly to help them. You know, I have new customers all the time and they're like, well, what do I take for this? What do I do with this? My mom has this, my uncle, my, brother. It doesn't matter who. I'm here to help everyone. And we have a lot of our education recorded from our team.
Mhm.
So if you need help on like hormones, women's hormones, we have that. If you need help on like pain relief, we have that. Digestion, our gut health is so important. We have training on all of that. So it's amazing what we can do to help you. So, I mean, I encourage anyone that needs to just be better, not to be perfect because that does not exist. But if you're a little gordita like me, it's okay.
Right.
We're a work in progress, right? And it's all right. We don't, and I think that's why maybe sometimes I'm a little more approachable because I'm like, I'm not a model. I'm just here to help you. I'm working through it myself, and this
Yeah.
is what's working for me.
Yeah, that's good. Oh my God. This is amazing. It's amazing. I always like talking to you. I've always
Hi,
have.
Jovi, I know. We're just like Valley girls, but not California, Texas Valley girls.
Right?
But it
The Valley
is
Girls.
always great to talk to you too. And, I know that you're going to put all my information down there, but if anyone wants to go, I have a website, belmartinez.com, and it's BelMartinez.com. It's that simple.
And also tell them about your blog as well, because I know you had started your
I
blog
started a
with type
blog.
1 diabetes.
I started a blog many years ago, and then life got complicated when I moved and all of this, and I left that blog, but I'm going to get back to it because it's important.
It is.
This diabetes, it's a journey, and people fall all the time, but it's like the books you read on leadership. Fail, but fail forward, like do better, like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll go see my endocrinologist and she's looking at me with a smile and I'm like, I know, I already saw the lab results. My A1C needs to improve a little more, but it's a struggle, but it's okay because life is not perfect. It's messy and it's fine.
And like I always say, and I say this to all the members in the type 2 diabetes nerds as well. I tell them it's baby steps.
Yes,
Take your time. You're not going to sprint to it.
that's
If it's going to take a year or two, but you know that you're doing it slowly and you're doing baby steps.
that's
You
right.
can't over exaggerate one thing. Everyone's personality is different. So
Right.
there's some that can run forward and just sprint. Others have to take baby steps, and it's a mindset. I believe it's
Yes,
all about the mindset.
it is because Jovi, you yourself have lost a lot of weight too. So the journey. It's not easy, but I think that keeping it off is just as challenging as the getting it off, right?
Well, I think for me personally, I think it's where you're stuck and you have a goal weight that you want to get to.
Mhm,
So the set point. So that's where I'm at right now too.
mhm.
So my body set point has already stopped where it's like, okay, I want you, like your body's going to ask you to crave for chocolate, crave for salty stuff, all the bad stuff, like you start craving it at a certain point, and it's just like, I try not to. I'll make some healthy desserts that's gonna be a little bit more beneficial for me. But it's
Right.
still, it's that, like you said, it's going to be step by step. You can't just run with it. And
That's
I
right.
know I'll get to it, like I'm like, I lost all this weight. I haven't been this weight since I was with you.
Wow.
Or
Yeah.
not even. I think I was what, 27, 28 years old at this weight. So
Wow.
yeah,
I know, but you know what? We're all individuals. And if we can help
exactly.
one person, you know, it's
Absolutely.
worth it, right? It's worth it. And I think a lot of times it's just we're there for the moral support, right?
But you've always been a mentor. Like you were my mentor. I learned a lot from you.
Thank you.
So that's the one thing that I can always attest, that you have always been there, and you always encouraged us no matter what. And yeah, like you said, sometimes life gets messy and you forget and you drop off or whatnot. And but you come back, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, let me do this again. I need to get this, and
Mhm.
you learn
Exactly.
stuff. And it's part of life.
It's
You
part of
have
life.
to learn,
Yes.
and you have to fail forward. You can't just be a winner, winner, winner all the time.
It's unrealistic.
Right? You can be a winner in different aspects, but at the same time, it has to be realistic. I
That's
think
right.
personally, and I agree with you.
That's very
So
true.
do you have anything else that you want to add to this podcast
Oh, well, one more thing I do have, and it's going to be in the little bio at the bottom of this uh,
video?
YouTube. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm giving away free samples of a pain relief. Okay. It's called Deep Blue. It's a cream. Put it wherever it hurts. But it'll have a link there. Just fill it out with your name and address and phone number. And in a few days, you will have your little packet. And then I'll contact you and help you out.
Oh, that's amazing. But you
Yes.
guys know, this is Bel Martinez, and this is Too Much Is Never Enough. And
Never.
like we were talking about, too much is never enough. From being a small business owner, a teacher, and also helping with her community, with the church as well, and her faith. That's been amazing. Um, Listen to us, like this page, and if you have any comments or any concerns that you might have, put it in the comment section. All right.
Thank you,
Anything?
Jovi.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Belle,
Oh,
and
it was
giving us
my
a little bit
pleasure.
of thank you. Thank you. Well, you have a great one.